Title: A Glimpse into Yosemite's Chinese History. In an old photo, a middle-aged Chinese chef poses at an outdoor table packed with guests.
My name is Yen Chan, and I work for the National Park Service as a park ranger, and I give natural and cultural history programs to the public as well as to school groups. And they get pollinated from the bottom. When I first got here to Yosemite, I interned here with the Park Service, and I started hearing about Chinese who worked in the Wawona Hotel. And then slowly, as I was doing research, I also heard that they worked on some of the roads here. And so when I was asked if I could lead a seminar on the history of the Chinese, I decided to do some more research and discovered a lot more about their role here in Yosemite.
Old machinery rusts outside an abandoned mine.
The Chinese first arrived here in great numbers in 1848, and that was when gold was discovered here in the foothills. And during that period of time, in the mid-1800s, the Chinese in southeast China had a lot of famines, droughts, other social and environmental disasters. And so for them, trying to find a place where they can try and earn money to help their families was a big goal for them. But very soon, gold became scarce, and by 1850, there was a foreign miners' tax passed for anyone not from this country. And so this pushed a lot of the Chinese to move away from mining to look for other types of work.
Men sit outside a rickety laundry building.
One of the things that I discovered was that here in Yosemite, there were a lot of really well-known cooks. They were often the head chefs in all the hotels. And one chef was a chef for the U.S. Geological Survey, and his name was Tai Sing. And he cooked such extraordinary foods in the backcountry that the head of the National Park Service, Stephen Mather, asked him to cook for his Mather Mountain parties.
A makeshift outdoor kitchen.
These Mather Mountain party trips brought influential men to the mountains, where Mather was able to give them a first-hand experience of why we should protect these natural places and have national parks. And among his distinguished guests, there was one writer named Robert Sterling Yard, who wrote about Tai Sing during the trip. He said, "To me, Tai Sing had assumed apocryphal proportions. The extraordinary recitals of his culinary talents had been more than I could quite believe, but I believe them all now and more. I shall not forget that dinner. Soup, trout, chops, fried potatoes, string beans, fresh bread, hot apple pie, cheese, and coffee. It was the first of many equally elaborate and equally appreciated."
20 men at a picnic table.
And in 1899, there is a peak named after him right on the boundary of Yosemite. It's called Sing Peak.
A high, rocky mountaintop. A photo of workers with round hats and shovels.
In addition to being well known as talented cooks, the Chinese also gained the respect of people for their strong work ethic. Mark Twain wrote, "They are as industrious as the day is long, and a lazy one does not exist." In Yosemite, these Chinese immigrants provided the primary labor in the construction of two major roads. One of the roads they built here is the Wawona Road, the original road from the Mariposa Grove and the town of Wawona in Yosemite's southern part, all the way to the valley. And that's a 23-mile road that ascends over 4,000 feet up and down the mountain. And they built that during the winter from 1874 to 1875, despite all the snow that they had encountered, and in 4.5 months finished that road.
Hundreds of workers in the snow.
These Chinese were working under extraordinarily difficult situations. They were using hand picks and shovels and wheelbarrows and really going through this really difficult mountainous terrain. And the Chinese were doing these types of projects not just here in Yosemite, but throughout the Sierra and the West. There's also another road that the Chinese built here, and it is the Tioga Road. When they built it, it was called the Great Sierra Wagon Road. And They built this road also in an amazing amount of time, just 4.5 months again, and it's a 56-mile road that came from the west all the way through Tuolumne Meadows and all the way to the outside of this park where there was a mining town called Bennetville. And so that road climbed up all the way to about 10,000 feet. They didn't have the aid of machinery that we think of today when we build roads, and they didn't have that much help from either mules or horses as well. It was primarily all human labor, and it was a dangerous job, requiring blasting powder to blast through some of the rocks that we encounter here in Yosemite.
Ranger Chan leads tourists up a rocky trail.
So at the time, in 1882 to 83, when they built that road, there were all these shareholders that were hoping there would be this great silver ledge that would make them very wealthy. So that's why they built this road, to take out the silver ores. And they also were thinking of building a railroad along that road so they can transport people and freight up here and through to the mining town, which they thought was going to be a huge, booming town. And so when they finished that road, it was expected that silver was going to come out. But that year, right after the road was finished, the mining town closed because of no more money, and it never found silver. So to this day, that road stands as the main route almost across the mountain range from the west to the east. And then a few years later, it connected all the way to the other side of the mountain.
Old photos of the one-lane gravel road fade to video footage of the modern paved highway.
The early Chinese in Yosemite faced numerous challenges, and yet they made incredible contributions to this park. From the extraordinary talent of the cooks to these incredible road builders working through such difficult conditions, they helped make this place the place we can visit today. And I think it reminds us of how important it is to remember the stories of these early people that came and helped shape this park's history, and also why it's so important for us to remember that we too can have a lasting impact and a contribution to this park.
Other images in the video depict Chinese workers in simple tunics and loose pants, with their hair pulled back into long braids. The workers are shown mining rocks with picks, washing ore, and digging roads. The National Park Service Arrowhead logo appears.